if the agencies that are involved in law enforcement and asset recoveries do their work, what is happening now has already deterrence value. I think it's beginning to shift the norm that you can steal with abandon and get away with it. And I actually would like to let people know that from where I sit, I do not see that it's going to be possible in the coming days for people to steal and get away with it. Not because there is something uniquely Kenyan about it, but I think, the sages of old have said that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it tends towards justice. I want to see these things institutionalized and becoming a way of life. And if they do and they give us success, then they can be sustained for the future. But I think we are standing at a place where there might be real potential for a change in the way we've been dealing with these matters. And I think there are also decisions coming from the court that support this, which I know will be fought significantly, but which, irrespective of whether they are overturned or not, I am very convinced they present the future. And I think the first decision relates to illicitly acquired wealth, where the Court of Appeal decided that if you cannot explain how you've acquired your wealth, being asked to explain how you've acquired your wealth is not a violation of your right to property or your right to fair trial, and that if you cannot explain how you've acquired your wealth, then that wealth is presumed to have been acquired illicitly or illegally and will be forfeited. That's a ground-shaking decision in itself, because the very essence of engaging in corruption is the benefit, the gain that comes from it. So if that gain is taken away, the incentive just goes away. I think the other decision is about how we treat our elected officials, and I think Justice Mumbi Gugi did make a decision regarding a case, an application brought by the current governor for Samburu to the effect that governors who have been charged with corruption cannot continue to discharge their responsibilities. I think this is a position that, as Transparency International, we've been profounding for a very long time. I would say over 10 years now. And I think the basis is very simple. If a cabinet secretary or any other public officer who is appointed cannot continue to hold office when they are charged with corruption, it should apply in similar way to elected officials, not just governors. It should apply to members of parliament and should apply to MCAs and anyone else who is in public office by virtue of an election. An election is not immunity against prosecution and against ethical